Hello and welcome to this first patch programming tutorial from my channel here. Today with the ASM Hydrasynth, a digital synthesizer. And today we are going to program a tiny little Supersaw trance patch. The Hydrasynth is not necessarily known to be used in trance a lot, although it is really an excellent and great synthesizer for doing sound design, and you can also produce some nice Supersaw patches with it. So I'm directly starting by initializing the patch. So we have here simple saw wave, and in order to make it sound more like a supersaw, so we have the oscillator 1 here, source wave, oscillator 2, saw wave, and we go to the mixer and we want to activate actually both of them. So I will tune them round about to settings of 90 to prevent clipping, and I will go to the mutants and set them to wave stack both. Dry wet is around about 100%, and then the depth should be around 40, because otherwise I think it's a little bit too much, so that we end up with something like this. And you can clearly hear there's a lot of phasing going on, and it's like one of the things you can like. I personally like this phasing in Supersaw sounds not so much, so but we can try to prevent this by switching on the random phase over here. Now it already sounds a little bit better. It's not yet perfect, but we can also improve this by increasing the analog flare a little bit, maybe up to 60. So this is already much better. Now to introduce some pan spreading, we can also separate the oscillators in the pan. So we go around about -40 here and +40 here, so that we still have some signal also in the middle. So this is already much better. Now coming to the filter section. So for this I like the MS-20 filter quite a lot. So we'll also increase the envelope amount for the filter a little bit, maybe up to 20. We will reduce the cutoff signal down to 0, introduce some resonance, and then we can also tweak the parameters for the filter envelope here, which can be something like this, for example, so that we get a nice punch here. We will also increase the release, and we will do the same for the volume here in a similar way, so that we maybe get to a value of 200, 300 milliseconds. And the sustain, of course, we will want to keep the sound a little bit louder here. And also the release time, we can increase it. Maybe, I would say, around about this value here. Okay, filters down. What I then would like to do is to route the cutoff of the filter to the mod wheel. However, the mod wheel is still blocked by the vibrato, so we have to turn this down and then go to the mod matrix and assign the mod wheel. By this you can just click ribbon, and then it's like two values over here. We had the mod wheel, you go to the filter, to the cutoff, and just turn it up, and then so we have the cutoff now on the mod wheel. That's pretty nice. So then we still have some tricks which we can do. For example, we can increase the punch by introducing some noise. So we can go to another envelope which should control the noise signal, and we can still give it some milliseconds, let's say half a second, and also leave the noise a little bit in the background. We have the noise here set to 0. We go to the mod matrix, envelope 4, and then we go to the noise, which is here, and tweak the signal maybe. Let's see how it sounds. This is too obvious, too loud. Here it's getting interesting. Sounds nice. Okay, what we also can do is we can use in the pre-FX the equalizer and the dry wet of the equalizer to only shape the sound at the transient, to make it a little bit come through a little bit more. So by this we change this here to the equalizer, which you have over here, and then so the equalizer we will increase the mid gain. We will also increase the high gain. Maybe by this amount. We put the dry wet down to 0 because we will trigger this with another envelope only at the beginning of the phase. We can shift this a little bit more towards 1 kilohertz. And now we need another envelope here, which will be this one. And maybe we set it to around about 400 milliseconds, something like this. Go to the mod matrix, and then we go to envelope 3, to the prefx, and to the dry wet, and then this is a little bit softer. Okay, this was of course minus. Okay, nice. So then, of course, we also would like to add some effects. So, for example, we can add some delay. Here, I really like the left, right, center delay. We go to sync and maybe a quarter dot. Here we go. We can increase the feedback here to 45 roundabout-ish. We leave the wet tone as it is and increase the dry wet to around about 60, so that we can nicely hear the delays coming. And we also add some reverb. I personally really like the plate reverb here. Decrease the pre-delay a little bit, and we also decrease the damping a little bit so that more high frequencies can shine through. We increase the time maybe to around about 4 seconds. So the tone, we will also increase it a little bit so that we have a little bit of brighter reverb. And then the dry wet goes up to around about 50. Yeah, there you have it, a simple trance patch with the ASM Hydrasynth, which I think sounds quite nice. And yeah, see you next time.